He whosoever be so worthy shall visit the set of Thor Ragnarok. Today it's you, Comic Book Nation. We're taking you there in Comic Book Now. What's up, Comic Book Nation? Welcome to Comic Book Now, joined, as always, Charlie Ridgely's here. Round of applause for Charlie Ridgely, everybody. We hear you clapping at home. I'm Brandon Davis. Call me BD. We have a supersized show today. We have an awesome giveaway coming up. Stay with us. We'll tell you how to win a really cool Batman the Animated Series prize worth $175. We have big Thor Ragnarok news, but first, Drew Goddard is directing X-Force. That news just came out. Charlie, there's something else you want to tell everybody?
There's something else. The Titan show on the DC animated streaming service, not animated, I'm sorry, DC streaming service is coming next year. Cast Hawk and Dove, Alan Rickson from Blue Mountain State, and Minka Kelly from Friday Night Lights. They're going to be Hawk and Dove in the live action series, along with Nightwing and Starfire and Raven and all your favorite DC Titans characters.
Which one's Hawk? Which one's? I'm just kidding. Anyway, no, we have a huge show, so we can't waste any time. We have to just jump into it. A year ago, almost exactly, I flew out to Australia and I visited the set of Thor Ragnarok. There, I made a friend. Her name was Mjolnir. Rest in pieces. We had some great time together. But more importantly, I got some awesome time. I got to spend time with the stars of this film, including Thor himself, Chris Hemsworth, who, I mean, this guy is just way too much like a real-life action figure for it to even be fair. And director Taika Waititi, awesome guy. Really can't wait to see his movie. You'll hear from them in today's show and more during this top third of Comic Book Now. But first, I wanted to point out a few things. Namely, the comics which heavily influenced this film. Obviously, you know Planet Hulk is playing a huge part in this. We're getting the armor on Hulk. We're getting the friendly yet not so friendly gladiator match with a simple character swap. Hashtag give Surfer back to Marvel. But the other book is Jason Aaron's God of Thunder. Not only are the personal and physical changes to Thor major factors that you've seen in this book, but Cate Blanchett's Hela is heavily influenced by that book's gore villain. And specifically, his ability to have just about any weapon at any time. You can read all about that at comicbook.com/Marvel. I read both these books on the flight to Australia to freshen myself up, and it was basically the movie. But what might be more important than this about this movie is the movie itself. Executive producer Brad Winderbaum was on set, and he made some big promises.
Just as in Winter Soldier, we broke down some of the real fundamental ideas about the MCU that you took for granted, specifically S.H.I.E.L.D. I think that also in Phase 1, we established this cosmology that involved Asgard and Odin and certain ideas of things that you just thought were eternal and could never change. And what this film does is it breaks them down in a very similar way that Winter Soldier broke down S.H.I.E.L.D.
So before Charlie and I offer our opinion on that bit and answer some of your questions, go ahead and drop those in the comment section now on Facebook, Comic Book Nation. Listen to what Chris Hemsworth has to say about this movie and how it sets up Avengers Infinity War.
They all do, you know. It's its own film too. We didn't want to get bogged down in Infinity Stones. And yeah, I spoke to the Russos before I even had the script for this and said, how does this link into that? What can we look out for? And then how do we continue this tone, because we want to do something different here and so on, and felt that sort of encouragement from them and that excitement early too. Avengers 3 and 4, I don't have a script for yet, again without giving anything away. This definitely leads nicely into that, you know, as they all tend to do, but this being, you know, called Ragnarok, which everyone knows what that means, it obviously is going to affect the larger universe.
What I think is most interesting about that is that when I sat down with Anthony and Joe Russo at Captain America Civil War, I asked them which characters they were most excited about. Joe Russo said Thor because he loves where Thor ends up in Ragnarok. So I really think there is a chance that we might see some Thanos play. I really do believe the Infinity Gauntlet is in this movie, and here's a big reason why. In the concept art room, they had a list of props there, and on that list of props was the Infinity Gauntlet. You don't get the Infinity Gauntlet without Thanos, because at the end of Avengers Age of Ultron, he got the Infinity Gauntlet. He said he's going to himself.
So I think you're right. I mean, I think if there's going to be a movie they can bring Thanos into, it's this one. Aside from Guardians, like, this is the one time they can do it before Infinity War, and I think they're going to take that opportunity.
Speaking of Guardians, the Milano was seen in the concept art room as well. I tried to ask about that, but I said, is there a reason why the Milano is in the concept art room? And all I got was, yes, there's a reason for it from the unit publicist Ernie Malick. There's, unless it's a situation where it's like the Millennium Falcon was on Onkar Plutt's lot and Ray and Finn happen to run into it, he might just run it. Thor might come across the Guardians, or at least the Milano. And the broker, who you're seeing right here, was also featured in concept art. So there's definitely some connections being made between Marvel's cosmic side.
I agree. And that can go back into the Thanos thing. If he's hunting down, trying to...
Exactly.
I don't know.
And we all know, obviously, Doctor Strange is playing a part in this. Speaking of connections, we're going to see a little bit of time on Earth in Thor Ragnarok. Now, at the time, this was a year ago, they weren't even really willing to talk to us much about Doctor Strange. We know we're going to see the Sanctum Sanctorum. I don't know if they built their own for this. I don't know if it's a new one. We're going to see a Sanctum Sanctorum. We're going to see Doctor Strange. It's going to be on Earth for a very short amount of time. I don't think Doctor Strange is going to go out to the cosmos, but it's a nice connection. So is it too much? What do you think? I think it's pretty cool to connect them.
I think it's awesome. I really like Doctor Strange. I like the performance he gave in his own movie, and I think that putting him in with Chris Hemsworth and with Tom Hiddleston as Loki, I think their chemistry is going to really... I think it's going to provide some fun bits. It's not going to be much, but it's going to be something we're all going to like.
So before we get back to the interviews, I do have one little theory I want to throw out there based on the Comic-Con footage and D23 footage from Avengers Infinity War. That footage starts with Thor landing on the Guardian's windshield. We said the Milano might be there. I'm thinking maybe that is Thor Ragnarok footage, and it's not actually... I think maybe the Guardians play a really small role. I could be wrong. I have nobody said yes, nobody said no to whether or not the Guardians...
I think it's kind of in between. I think it's going to be one of those post-credit scenes. It might even have been directed by James Gunn or the Russo brothers or something, and it's just a tag onto the Thor film, but it connects them. And when we leave Thor Ragnarok, it's going to be like, uh-oh, Infinity War.
I will say, they did say this movie happens at the same time as Captain America Civil War, Spider-Man Homecoming, Phase 3 kind of all overlaps. Guardians of the Galaxy happened in the past, so there could, there's definitely a window there. Yondu might be there, we don't know. We did see Taika Waititi with Yondu in a photo. Now we're getting crazy.
That was a lot.
But one thing we will definitely be getting is a brand new Thor. With that, an interesting new relationship between the God of Thunder and his half-brother Loki.
It was one thing I said, but I don't want to repeat that relationship either, and I think Tom felt the same. All of us were like, what can we do again here? There's a bit of reversal. In the first films, a lot of the time you're seeing Thor kind of go, come back, Loki, and da-da-da, and there's a feeling from Thor now, it's just like, you know what, kid, do what you want. You can't aim for trying. You're a screw up. Do your thing. So there's a bit of that, which is fun, but also something we haven't sort of played with as much,
I don't trust Loki, even if Tom Hiddleston did promise he's going to continue to evolve a bit. But we are all very much looking forward to the Hulk and Loki's next meeting after their moment in 2012's The Avengers, aren't we?
The way I see it is in Avengers, Hulk and Loki never really had a conversation. It was more of a physical meeting. An extended group hug, shall we say. But yeah, so it's fun when the two of them re-meet in this. So you'll see. I don't want to spoil it.
Also joining the mix is Tessa Thompson as Valkyrie. Now, mild spoilers here, but Valkyrie will be the one who finds Thor and delivers him to Jeff Goldblum's Grandmaster earlier in the movie. But somehow, we've seen in the trailer, these movies are going to become friends by the end of the film.
Valkyrie becomes sort of a part of this team. When we meet her, she's hanging out on another planet called Sakaar, and she's sort of an expat, an Asgardian expat. She is no longer sort of with her tribe of Valkyrie anymore, and she meets Thor and Hulk, and she has sort of a similar goal that they do, and they become friends and kind of teammates in a way.
I said movies become friends. I meant characters become friends. Those characters are going to become friends. But there's some cool things about Tessa Thompson's character. She has a couple of costumes. One is a classic Valkyrie costume. The other is one that we've seen in the trailer. It's a little bit different. Production designer Dan Henna says a flashback sequence will see hell. This is kind of spoilery, so earmuffs if you don't want them. Dan Henna, who worked on The Hobbit and Alice Through the Looking Glass, that's what I was standing on sets designed by this guy. It was amazing. But he says there's flashback sequences of Hela destroying the Valkyrie army, which I think is going to be a huge part of Thompson's character's motivation. Here's what executive producer Brad Winderbaum says of Valkyrie.
Our view of the Valkyrie in the MCU is that they were basically Odin's special ops, SEAL Team 6. Valkyrie, as we meet her in this film, is definitely suffered the trauma of war, and we meet her in a really low place. It's not so much that we're trying to create a one-to-one emulation of Brunhild from the comics, but certainly the idea of the Valkyrie and what they mean to Asgard and to Odin is something that we're going to be leaning into a lot and draft a lot of ideas from the comics.
I think it's really interesting that Winterbaum, who, as you heard at the top of this show, says this movie has the same effect on the MCU that the Winter Soldier did in Phase 2. It's that for Phase 3. The Winter Soldier took S.H.I.E.L.D. out, completely changing the landscape. Could the Valkyrie have been to the cosmos what S.H.I.E.L.D. was to Earth? I mean, that's an interesting theory right there. It's something we might want to talk about. But I want to talk about Thor Ragnarok right now with Comic Book Nation for a couple minutes. Do you guys have any questions? Leave them in the comment section. Charlie right here is monitoring them, so fire away. Charlie, what's going on? What are the people?
All right, Wim said Mojo, you know he's always got questions. Wim wants to know, is the Soul Gem going to be in Thor Ragnarok? That's been a big topic of discussion. What do you think?
See, nobody on set would deny. They didn't confirm it, but they also did not deny that any of the Infinity Stones would be a part of this film. We just heard Hemsworth say they didn't want to get bogged down in Infinity Stones, but they did say that the beginning of this movie, when we find Thor, a huge part of what he's doing is inspired by Avengers Age of Ultron, the vision he had there, the quest it put him on, and then that quest kind of splinters off into a lot of different things for him. But his main quest at the beginning of the film was to find Thanos and these, maybe not Thanos, but the Infinity Stones. So I definitely think it's a factor. It's a factor in Thor's life right now. Whether or not we see it, I guess we'll have to wait and find out.
Chris Wada wants to know, are the Warriors 3 and Lady Sif in the film?
The Warriors 3 and Lady Sif in the film. I don't have an answer. I do believe we're going to see a lot of ground level stuff at Asgard. I think we'll see those characters. I know that they want to emphasize outside of the royal palace in Asgard. They want to see the plazas and the towns and the homes. We don't go in the homes, but we see the outside. We see the people interacting. We see the people who Hela is destroying because she's the goddess of death, and as they put it, she needs people to kill.
If I had to guess, I would guess they'd be in it.
Oh, absolutely. If I was a betting man, I'd say yes.
Last one, quick. Will Valkyrie be in Avengers Infinity War?
I think so, because Tessa Thompson was. I asked Tessa Thompson about this. I said, you know, you're joining a huge piece of a puzzle. Thor Ragnarok is a piece of that puzzle. Is Valkyrie? She didn't say yes. She didn't say no. But she said part of what got her so interested in the role is that Avengers Infinity War is part of this. It's so big. Yeah. And she said there's like 64 characters in it. It's so cool what they do. I don't think she'd have that much information if she wasn't there. I'm going to take my conspiracy theory hat off now. That was a lot to take in. So if you're just joining Comic Book Now on our brand new show page, by the way, make sure you hit the like button to get notified every Thursday when we're live. But here is a quick and simple recap of the 5 biggest takeaways, mild spoilers, from our time on the set of Thor Ragnarok from our buddy Chris Killian.
The details from Thor Ragnarok are here, as Comicbook.com has unveiled everything we learned while visiting the Australian set of Marvel's next blockbuster. What's up, guys? Chris Killian with Comicbook.com here. Now, it should go without saying, but if you are avoiding anything that could be construed as spoilerish when it comes to Thor Ragnarok, then you should probably not be watching this video. But if you're still on board, we're going to discuss the top 5 things we learned during our Thor Ragnarok set visit. Starting off at number 5, Hela is not only based on her classic character, but also mixed with a villain known as Gore the God Butcher to make her more powerful. Specifically, she has his power set of being able to manifest an infinite number of weapons, and you can read all about him in Jason Aaron's Thor God of Thunder, which started printing with Marvel Now in 2012. Number 4. Jeff Goldblum's character, the Grandmaster, was described to us as not only a ringleader of a circus, but also a brutal dictator. How brutal remains to be seen, but you can get a better idea of the character from Planet Hulk and paying attention to the Red King. And number 3, Thor Ragnarok will be as important to the MCU as Captain America Winter Soldier was. According to executive producer Brad Winderbaum, Ragnarok will break down the cosmos in a very similar way that Winter Soldier broke down S.H.I.E.L.D. Winter Soldier took a lot of things out of the equation to make it harder on the Avengers in Ultron, and in Thor Ragnarok, we're going to see something similar this November. Number 2, the Guardians of the Galaxy might be making an appearance in Thor Ragnarok if the picture we saw of the Milano in the concept art room is any indication. The Milano was last seen being left behind in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 before Ego the Living Planet scooped up Star-Lord and the gang. And finally, the top thing we learned, leading into Avengers Infinity War, we think it's safe to assume that the Infinity Gauntlet is probably going to make an appearance in Thor Ragnarok. We scouted Thanos' all-powerful glove on a list of props that also included the Destroyer armor last seen in the first Thor film. And there you have it. Let us know in the comments how excited you are for Thor Ragnarok, and head over to Comicbook.com to read about even more stuff from our set visit.
Yeah, there's so much Thor Ragnarok news. We have more coming, so go to comicbook.com/Marvel to check it out. As I promised at the top of the show, we have a really cool giveaway. We're going to switch over to DC for a second. Let's switch gears. It's 25 years of Batman the Animated Series. It is 25 years old, started in 1992. And we have this awesome collectible set, 5 figures to give away. It has Poison Ivy. It has Killer Croc. It has Bane. It's got Mr. Freeze. Renee is I mean, look, Charlie, this is a really cool set. It's made for display. It's got lights in here over the figures. It's $175. It's available this month, and we're giving it away right now on Comic Book Now. We will announce the winner next week. Here's how you enter. This is it. It's this simple. Go to our show page, our Comic Book Now show page, which is what you're watching this on. Hit like and follow, and you're entered to win. That's it.
That's easy.
It's a $175 Batman collectible prize, and it's going to be free, and all you have to do is hit like. That's about the best thing I've ever heard.
I mean, I hit like, and you said it was free if you hit like, so I'm just going to...
Charlie's not eligible to win, but you are, Comic Book Nation. This is a little segment now I've been enjoying every week now for 3 weeks. I go to Twitter and I ask a question, and some fiery responses always ensue. It's our culture. This week, I wanted to know who Comic Book Nation thought would win in a fight, the Hulk or Superman. Charlie, let's settle this.
This is one of those, it's been going on forever. This has been a huge fight between nerds for a long time.
On 3, let's see if we agree.
All right.
1, 2, 3. The Hulk.
Superman.
Absolutely not. Charlie, stop it. Stop. Okay, Charlie, let's hear it. Let's hear your argument first.
Listen. First of all, I don't like Superman. For me to say this, it has to be real. Let's just get that out of the way right now.
Let's hear it.
But the Hulk is a regular scientist person half the time. How many times has he been killed by little things like arrows, by being stabbed by a Wolverine? I'm just saying, like, it took Doomsday to kill Superman.
You know who else killed Superman?
I don't think...
I'm going to name 2 other people who beat Superman. Muhammad Ali, the Joker. Oh, and how about a third? Batman. Batman would have killed Superman if he didn't say Martha.
Okay, that doesn't count. We're talking about...
Let me tell you, Bruce Banner is significantly smarter than Clark Kent. Now, when they did fight, they have fought in comics before. DC and Marvel present number 28. They got in a fight. Superman technically won because Hulk just got so tired of trying to fight him that he just switched back to Bruce Banner. Let me tell you something. The next time they came around, I guarantee you they had another meeting and licenses didn't get in the way. Bruce Banner makes him. He's filled with gamma. Why not fill himself with kryptonite?
He quit the fight.
Forget it. I think Hulk wins.
Quitters never win.
Anyway, hey, Star Wars fans, we are looking at you right now with some big news. While the new Han Solo movie director is having a good time on set finally, Ron Howard is posting pictures teasing a look at Alden Ehrenreich and Harrison Ford's shoes, if you will. Star Wars Episode 9 has officially lost its director. Oh, don't panic. But Colin Trevorrow is out of the director's chair for the culmination of the new trilogy of trilogies. And the rumors which have surfaced since the news, The Force Awakens director J.J. Abrams and The Last Jedi director Rian Johnson are both in consideration to take the job. For more details on the Star Wars director and all things Star Wars, go to comicbook.com/Star Wars. Wow, that's crazy. Now, to the DC fans, we're back to you. Not only has Suicide Squad reportedly landed a director in Gavin O'Connor, you may know him from The Accountant. He's currently working on a sequel. They want to produce that in 2018. But the Joker news keeps coming with Jared Leto breaking his silence since that origin story movie with a new actor news broke. The actor says he is a little confused about everything going on with DC, but says he thinks he is going to be a part of the Harley Quinn Joker movie. He's still supposed to be a part of Suicide Squad 2. He did take a diplomatic approach to the whole thing, saying he loves the Joker, but feels no sense of ownership over the character. Charlie, are you buying this diplomatic response? What do you think?
You know what? I actually am buying this. Not in a sense of, you know, what he's doing, what he's not. I just, as much as some people didn't like Jared Leto's Joker, I think he really enjoyed playing the character. I think he really takes pride in being the Joker. And so for him to have another opportunity, for him to think he's getting replaced, I think he is sincere about wanting to make it work and go forward because he really had a good time doing it.
I say not a chance that's sincere. I think there was a report last week where Jared Leto was frustrated. I think he is frustrated. I heard he was frustrated after Suicide Squad when several of his scenes got cut, and now they're already trying to replace him. I'd be frustrated too. Jared, I appreciate the diplomatic approach to all this, but I do believe there's some frustration boiling.
I'm sure there's frustration.
Speaking of frustration, it's off season for so many TV shows, but we're 3 days away from the mid-season premiere of Fear the Walking Dead and 45 days away from The Walking Dead Season 8. To prepare, AMC has released a brand new synopsis for the upcoming 16 episodes, directly calling them all-out war. Comic fans just got excited. The biggest theme of the synopsis is Rick taking both Alexandria and the show back. You can read the entire synopsis on comicbook.com/The Walking Dead, where you will also find what showrunner Scott Gimple said about that big old man Rick twist. It's going to be in the Season 8 premiere. He revealed how much you will learn or won't learn about it in the Season 8 premiere on October 22nd. Now, it wouldn't be ComicBook.com and Comic Book Now if we didn't go through the hottest comics, right? Let's check in with our buddy Del at Rick's Comic City for this week's hottest picks.
What's up, guys? Chris Killian here in Rick's Comic City in Nashville, Tennessee, and once again, I've got my comic book know-it-all buddy, Del, and he's going to give you guys the 3 best comics you've got to check out this week. What have you got for us this week, Del?
All right, well, this week we're starting out with a classic indie. It's 7 to Eternity. Basically, this issue, it's a really big issue because it's the end of the big story arc that's been going on with Adam and the whole Mud King. He's finally figuring out if he's fighting for the right thing. He might even end up like a tyrant, just like how they're talking about with the old Mud King. Not to spoil too much, but I would definitely check this issue out. It's the end of an arc, and it's the beginning of one of the first actual story arcs going on in 7 to Eternity.
Anytime you have like a word like mud or night in front of the word king, they're never good. What's the second issue we've got?
Second issue is, if you guys have been following, it's Justice League number 28. It has a lot to do with their kids. Don't really want to go into too much of how it happened, but all their kids are here from the future. Superboy's there, Cyborg's kid's there, the Flash's kid, and they're all gathering up together. It's one common enemy, and it's a huge spoiler. I'm not going to reveal it. It's really cool to see the heroes with their kids, like the Flash's daughter trying to race him, and Cyborg and his son. It's really awesome.
Nice. And what's the last book we got this week?
Last one is a favorite that's been going on every week. It's Generations with Iron Man and Riri. But this one's a little weird because instead of going to the past, this one goes into the future. And Tony Stark is the Sorcerer Supreme, and he's 127 years old. So I think as every generation has been doing, kind of teaching the heroes a lesson about themselves, I think this one has a lot to do with don't depend too much on the armor.
Oh, well, that's awesome. You had me at Tony Stark is the Sorcerer Supreme. Now I've got to check it out. Thank you so much, Del. And you guys, check back over to comicbook.com for even more comic books you can check out that came out this week.
Thank you so much, Rick's Comics. Let me tell you something. Chris Killian travels fast. At the beginning of the show, he was talking about Thor Ragnarok. Same T-shirt. He's out there at Rick's Comic City. It's amazing. That guy, fast travel, just like Game of Thrones. The Walking Dead 171 introduced a new character this week. Came out yesterday. It's the pink signature variant, already selling for a couple $100 on eBay. It's crazy. But want to talk about this one more time. We have an awesome giveaway. Batman the Animated Series. We have 5 figures. The Rogues Gallery. We have Killer Croc. We have Bane. We have Poison Ivy. This is an awesome collection. It's not one you want to take out of the box. It's worth $175. We're giving it away to you, Comic Book Nation. All you have to do is click the like button on our Comic Book Now page, which, I mean, that's a win-win, because even if you don't get this, and maybe you do, you get a notification every Thursday when our show is live, and you get the best news. You get to hang out with me and Charlie for a little while, once a week, and, you know, have some fun. And this is my favorite part of the show. This is what I consider the most fun. The questions, the comments, the Q&A part. We talk to you, Comic Book Nation. I do want to point out, I read the comments. Jess Bautista wants my Lucille pen. Sorry, no, available on Skybound. And Jeff Lambert wants us to talk about The Gifted. I can't talk too much about it because I haven't seen it, but I've talked to people who have, and they love it. So
I can tell you something The Gifted is guaranteed to be better than. It rhymes with Schmumans.
Oh, he's a hater. I still haven't seen Inhumans, but I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna pay for an IMAX ticket just to piss Charlie off. I'm gonna go see Inhumans.
I watched 5 minutes. It was enough. Can't do it.
All right, let's get to it. What do they want to talk about? What's going on?
All right, Jessica Breland over on Twitter. Remember, you can tweet us using hashtag CBNow. We'll always see your questions. Jessica wants to know, will Thor and Jane still be together in Thor Ragnarok? This has been a hot topic for Thor fans leading into Ragnarok.
You know what? I can tell you the answer right now. It might be a little spoilery, but you already knew Natalie Portman was out of the Marvel franchise. She has said that already. No, they're not going to be together. Thor Ragnarok will explain the breakup between Jane and Thor. Instead, Thor kind of has a new love interest in Valkyrie. Now, I don't know how deep that relationship's going to go. It might be one of those flirty things. She seems like she's a super tough girl. She's not going to be interested, but Thor is interested. In fact, Thor is a huge fan of her when they meet, and so that kind of adds a whole new dynamic. And Chris Hemsworth even admitted while talking to us that Valkyrie could totally beat him up, and he's not used to that. So
you think it's going to be like a Tormund Brienne situation, like two really powerful people, and like he's really into it, and she's just like,
yeah. Speaking of Torment, I did see Wim Sadmojo just said, who wins in a fight, the Game of Thrones characters or the Walking Dead?
That's not even a contest.
Game of Thrones slaughters them 11
the
times out of 10.
The Hound beats them by himself.
Yeah, probably.
That's
well,
all
actually, the thing is, they don't have guns on Game of Thrones.
But
kind of evens the fight.
Jon Snow can't die, so they have
can.
dragons.
Well, he's died. He just comes back to life.
They have dragons.
They can't die on The Walking Dead either. They die, they become a weapon.
They have dragons.
Anyway.
They both have zombies. All right. Reese Williams wants to know what we think, or who we think will direct Episode 9 of Star Wars. There's a big, like we said, Colin Trevorrow's out.
Who will direct? I don't know who I think is in line to direct.
Yeah.
I really think it's going to be either Ryan or J.J. Abrams. I want J.J. Abrams back. And that's only because I haven't seen Rian Johnson's Last Jedi. I saw The Force Awakens. I had a ton of fun. I thought it felt similar to Lost in a way because J.J. Abrams, everything he does this thing where it adds questions. It has a little bit of fun. It develops characters. Yeah. And as a huge Lost fan, I'm obligated to pick J.J. Abrams.
He also has these things called solar flares he likes to put in a lot of his movies.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
But I think it's going to be Rian Johnson. I think you're right about it's going to be one of those two. But my buddy Cole brought up a good point yesterday that of all the Star Wars movies since they've started over with Disney, each one has had issues in production. Even with J.J. Abrams in episode 7, they've all had issues except for The Last Jedi and Rian Johnson. He has sailed the smoothest ship from the beginning. I think that it would make sense for them to just bring him on and let him keep going.
And let's not overlook the fact he has had the most to overcome. He had to deal with the loss of Carrie Fisher shortly after production. So, I mean, and it still seems like a flawless production. Everybody's rallied around him, and he's kept the team in good shape. So maybe Rian Johnson is the guy. We'll have to see episode 8, I guess, to decide.
It makes the most sense on the surface, but we'll see what they do. Jordan Evans wants to know what we want to see in the Game of Thrones spin-off series that they are announcing soon. I mean, they're working, there's 4 in production.
Yeah, well,
quote unquote in production. They're writing 4 of them.
So in development doesn't necessarily mean they're coming. It means they're tossing ideas around. They're going to decide which idea is the best. It doesn't mean we're getting 4 Game of Thrones shows. I've had friends who say they're making 4 spin-offs. And I'm like, no, guys,
not at all.
Fake news. So they have 4 shows in development. I really want to see the Ned Stark. I would like to. I think that's a good story. Or you can just do all new characters. You could do the Mad King. You could do a prequel, but you can also introduce characters who we haven't met, and you can expand the world beyond what we met and have seen in Game of Thrones. And who knows how Game of Thrones is going to end? Maybe you can do something that comes after with another character. With Jon Snow's kids way in the future. If Jon and Daddy have kids, I don't know. Maybe everyone's going to be dead. Maybe you do a Night King spinoff and all of them just making snowmen.
I don't know. Obviously, you know how much I love Tormund. I'd love to see a Tormund, Brienne, Hound, like buddy cop show.
I don't think,
but that's not going to happen. They've already said that's not going to happen.
Anything with current characters.
Yeah, they've already said current characters that we've seen with this cast. It's not happening again. So my choice. I like your whole Ned Robert's Rebellion, maybe something like that with the Mad King. But I like the idea of going even further back than that, going all the way back to when the wall was built. After the original Long Night, going back to before Aegon the Conqueror, Bran the Builder. There's so many tie-ins that you can have there. There's a lot of theories going on. See how it all began. See how this whole mythos came to be and the creation of the Night King and all that stuff. Maybe I'm just a nerd. I don't know, but I think that's really cool.
Well, it's probably both.
It's both. I am a nerd. I'm just gonna have to get over it.
Let's do one more question.
One more question. Okay, Tara Hudson on Facebook wants to know if we are ready for it. Now, Brandon.
Tara, the question is,
you lucky man. You got to see it yesterday.
Yeah, guys, I saw it last night. I went down to the Regal Opry Mills down here in Nashville, Tennessee, and I sat with Chris Killian, our Kofi Outlaw, one of our writers here at Comicbook.com, and I sat through it. And I never watched the old show, and I never read the book. I just went in for this movie. Let me tell you something. If I watched this movie as a kid, I wouldn't be sitting here. I would be a horrible, twisted, scared individual. This movie's terrifying, and it's amazing the imagination they're able to come up with for the ways Pennywise terrorizes people. But at the same time, the movie is a ton of fun. And how do you put those two things together? I don't know. They did a fantastic job. The kids in this movie, the actors, are amazing. It is a phenomenal movie. It's not a perfect movie. A lot of simple, careless little mistakes. Like, I don't want to point any out because then you'll notice and they'll drive you crazy. But it's a really fun movie, really scary movie. And I think it would have came out closer to Halloween and made a little bit more money if not for Thor Ragnarok and Justice League being right behind that. But it's fantastic. Go see it. That's all I can say.
I've already got my ticket for tomorrow night. I can't wait. I have read the book. I have seen the old TV movie. Like, I'm a huge Stephen King fan, so I am doing leaps that I get to go see it tomorrow night.
I did see 2 questions just now I want to get to because I love when you guys are commenting live. Amy wants to know, is there going to be a Walking Dead panel at Comic-Con? Yes, both Fear the Walking Dead and The Walking Dead are headed to New York Comic-Con. I'm assuming you're talking about New York. And Safiso, I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, so will the Defenders be featured in Avengers Infinity War? I don't think so. I really don't. I don't think that's a possibility. I think that's off the table. It's not been a rule,
officially off
but
the
I
table?
don't think
Yeah.
so. But that's where we're going to wrap our show, guys. All the Thor Ragnarok goodies, go to comicbook.com/Marvel or start our show over as soon as it ends. That's what I recommend. On behalf of Charlie Ridgely, I'm Brandon Davis. Click like on our new Comic Book Now page. See you later.
Willem, what exactly are you doing?
Looking for the hidden picture.
If you stare at these things long enough, you're supposed to see some kind of hidden three-dimensional picture.
Oh, yeah, look. You saw it too? Damn it!
What?
I've been staring at this thing for a week now, from opening till closing, and I can't see a damn thing!
You gotta relax your eyes.